Okay. That's cool. You're absolutely right. It's necessary to experiment. You're absolutely right. It's necessary to try new things.
Hmm.
And I totally agree with that. That's how I got involved in podcasting
Yeah.
in the beginning. It's like, okay, what's this? How does it work?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, what's this platform? What happens when I press this button? Oh,
Exactly.
shit, where did that go?
Uh-huh. So
So,
what's your software setup like that you use on a regular basis? Because
mhm.
athletes, what are you
What do
using?
I do? I have a small recorder in my computer. Let's
Okay.
see, it's called AnyCap, ANYCAP recorder,
Okay.
which allows me to record any audio running through my computer or any
Hmm.
video running through my computer. And um, my life is about less hassle. That's the whole
Oh,
point.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I I know people who spend weeks mixing stuff down, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, by the way, is this being recorded, what we're talking about now, or
Not yet, but we
not
can
yet?
start recording. Yeah.
Okay, because right now I'm recording everything running through my computer. So I'm Mr. Backup, okay?
That's awesome.
That's what you can call me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For sure.
I'm always like, if there's no plan B, I'm worried, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I love
Gotta have
plan
the
A.
plan
I'm a
B.
plan A person. I'm like, I'll go 120 into plan A, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's really, really nice to be able to, pull something out from up your sleeve and go, but I've got this.
Good. I've got this. That's right.
Right. I want to be one step ahead rather than two steps behind.
Sure. Sure. So essentially, you're recording both sides of our conversation since you
Absolutely.
have everything.
Yeah, what's happening is my computer is recording my audio, my voice
Hmm.
running through the computer, and any sound coming in through my computer.
Okay.
So that's what
That's amazing.
that's
That's,
what my computer is doing, and I use that for uh, general calls. I use that for recording Facebook Messenger or
uh-huh.
WhatsApp calls through there. If people
Hmm.
want to use Skype, I have a Skype call recorder which does audio or video, not the built-in one to Skype because that was
Sure.
designed by monkeys and is
Yes.
useless.
I don't
um,
like it either. And somebody's been telling me that we should totally use this. I'm like, sure, if you want to. It's up to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, I'll go down that road, but I know what's there, and
Yeah.
I know there's going to be hassles because this click one button and everything is done for you. It's like, no, wait a minute. What if I want to
No.
change something just a tiny little bit, right? What if I want to
Exactly.
raise someone's audio, or what if I want to crop a picture a little bit, or what if they don't want to be in the video but I do, or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Exactly.
you've got to have this ability to manipulate the content in a way that is comfortable for you.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
totally agree.
So, and then what I do is I take the audio and it gets recorded into a file. I just throw it into
Hmm.
Audacity
Yeah.
and chop, chop, trim. Although I do that very rarely, only to remove, anything that goes horribly wrong,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I hear you.
Which is
Yeah.
like less than 1% of anything. Most of my stuff
Because it
is.
takes so much time
Oh my
to do
God.
that kind of
Oh
work.
my God, I got these people saying, well, yeah, we record on Saturday and then we mix it down and, then we add some visuals to make a little video for it. We put it out at the end of the week. And I'm just like, oh, it's like, what? I'm just like, do it. Do it
You've,
done.
you've, yeah, you've,
Bang.
you've wasted an entire week
Oh
doing
man, what a
all of
loss.
that.
What a loss of time. What a loss of
Yeah.
time because,
Yeah.
because, I don't know about other people. For me,
Sure.
the days are precious and time is precious, and that's why I'm so pissed off with myself for
Mm-hmm.
for messing up the times today. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I owe you one for being so down and being so cool and being so laid back about that, man. I'm in your
No,
debt
no,
already,
no
really,
worries.
really. But I want you to know that that's how I feel, okay?
Awesome,
I want,
awesome. I appreciate it.
yeah, because this it's important to me to keep my obligations, and if I'm messing up
Mm-hmm.
with something, and today I screwed up the times, and I'm just like, I didn't even need to do that. Arg, arg. And so yeah, I really appreciate that, mate. You're so cool. You're so cool.
No worries. So
Okay,
let's
that's
get right into it, huh? Or how do you usually start? I mean, you know, this is my first time doing an interview with somebody totally new.
mhm,
I mean, I've talked on the phone multiple times with a lot of people, but
mhm.
to do it in a podcast style,
Yeah. Well, you know what I like about the one thing that I liked about the Anchor co-host system was
yeah,
the first couple of times I used it, I'm like, this is frustrating and annoying, and there's no time to prepare anything, and there's this countdown, and then suddenly you're talking to
yeah,
someone, and
yeah.
and then after doing that like 5 or 10 times, I was like, there's no better way than just to dive in, right?
Agreed. Exactly.
There's
Just
no better way than to dive in. So yeah, if you know you can start, or you know you can throw it back to me. I don't care, man. I don't care.
sure.
And I might even you know, because I've recorded like the first part of this conversation. What I sometimes
Yeah.
do is I put a little bit, I make a little bit of a preamble. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because there's usually like couple like 5 or 10 seconds of
Sure.
bizarre, irrelevant discussion, which is kind of
Yeah,
interesting,
it
you
is.
know, as as a
It's
sort of intro.
what
So
was that conversation about?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're kind of dropping hints about what's coming. You know, you're putting the hook in
yeah,
the water to catch the fish, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That doesn't
let's
answer the question, does
it
it?
doesn't, but it's fine. I mean, you know, that's how we go. That's life. You know, you're born
Mhm.
and you're crying and you're like, holy smokes, this is life. Like
Yeah,
we're
that's
just entering, right?
deal with it, right?
Deal with it.
That's what I'm
Food.
always telling my son, man.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm like, deal with it,
deal with it.
deal with it.
So how old is your son?
Oh, my son is 8.
And
I have 3 kids. My son is 8.
three kids.
2 daughters. My
Uh-huh.
first daughter is 5. My second daughter is 3. And it's highly
Wow.
probable that they might end up in the background at some point in time, because
Sure.
I have little or no control over what
Oh
they
no,
do.
I totally agree. I understand. I have 3 kids myself, 8-year-old,
Yeah.
a 3-year-old, and a 7-month-old.
Wow. 7 months.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So
so
you've
cool.
got a nice gap between the three of your kids.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it works
they're
well,
almost
surprisingly.
self-sufficient, right?
Um, yeah, it's like that gradient of kind of teaching, right? Where you know you
Yes.
teach the first child, and then the first child takes some of that learning and teaches it to the second child, and
Yeah.
there's sort of you kind of get this flow going of kind of how things should be.
Exactly.
And then you're right, they're nice age gaps to have there. It looks nice in photographs, right? I was thinking the other day, right, when you
Yeah.
got a picture of the 3 kids together, it's kind of like this, you know, tallest, middle one, and then the
Exactly.
little one
They're like
there.
the connection bars on your phone.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't know, maybe we've started already. I don't know, man.
Maybe we started already, right? So
Yeah,
talk about kids, you know,
yeah,
and
absolutely. We don't
that's
need
one
an
of the
intro. We don't need to do an
we don't need an
introduction.
intro. We're already in there because life is a
Oh,
hobby. You
oh
know,
yeah.
it all comes down to, okay, you've got 3 kids, and each kid has an activity that you have to take them to.
Hmm.
Either they're doing you know, sports, or you're doing, you know, dancing or whatever it is. It's a time commitment that it all comes down to, time commitment and
Yeah, I get the point.
hobbies. Right.
Yeah, let me dive in here and
Yeah.
say that right now, my kids should be right now. I'm actually looking out a window of the house that I'm in. Oh, by the way, we haven't done like where we are. We haven't done anything.
No, we haven't.
Man. We haven't done anything.
Right,
Okay, where's the rewind button, man? Yeah. That's it. Look, I'm in the Highlands of Scotland right now. That's where I'm hanging out, right?
Nice.
Now, I don't know if you know much about the Highlands of Scotland, but
I have no idea.
I can tell you that it absolutely has the worst weather in the world, and I do not understand why anybody would ever want to come here. It has been highly romanticized through films and nationalism and independence and romantic novels and whiskey and God knows what else. And I'm just like, why do people live here, man? I haven't seen the sun for 2 days. Okay?
Oh wow. That's crazy, man.
I know.
So Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah. Actually, the clouds broke. Actually, to be honest, the clouds broke about an hour ago, right? And the sun came through, and I had to stop what I was doing and just go, sun, oh my god, oh my god. I've only been here for 6 weeks at the moment, and because I'm working on a project, and I've turned into a cat. You know how cats look for that little area of sun and they kind of lie in it, and
You're just laying there.
I've turned into a cat, like creeping around going, is there sun in this room? Can I get some sun somewhere? Oh my god. So I'm hanging out in the Highlands right now, and it's early evening, and that's where I am. Where are you?
So I'm in Northern Virginia, close to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Here in the United America.
Okay. That's I have amazing respect for Americans, because it doesn't matter where you look, Americans seem to be leading the charge in all directions.
Sure.
There's
one way to look at it.
Yeah,
no,
it might not always be a good thing, right? Right.
Good thing or bad thing, we're leading the charge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're like, I love that, and there's like some American leading the charge. You're like, I hate that. There's some American leading the charge, right? It just seems to be that Americans are get up and go, right?
Yeah, let's just do it. And,
absolutely. Best advertising slogan ever. Just do it.
It is.
Right.
It's like just get out and do it, because you don't need to think about it. And I was thinking about the slogan by Nike. Yeah. And I've asked my son. He would like contemplate and ask you all these questions. I was like, just do it. You'll figure it out when you start doing it.
Oh yeah. How does it work? Play with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you play with it.
Do you ever notice that Facebook came with no instructions?
It did.
And that's
websites come with no instructions.
Yeah. And that's a complicated. I don't know if I can swear on your podcast. Can I swear? Are you for swearing? Against swearing?
I marked my podcast as
clean. Okay. So no swearing. Okay, I will try to get through it. But let's. It's a complicated MF, right? That's what Facebook is, and
it is,
and it came with no instructions, and there's all these people on the internet like sharing, like I clicked on this and then this happened and then this happened and then that happened, and it's like it somehow people know how it works, but no one's ever explained it to anybody.
Hard, right? Facebook's been around for over 12 years. Maybe longer than 12 years, right?
There's not even a book. There's not even a how to use Facebook book
about it. And I'm sure there's courses that talk you about how to use Facebook. I mean, there's definitely places that you can go to learn about how to do Facebook advertising and how to do, those kind of things, because it's marketplace related. But Facebook, people on Facebook they get into it. I mean, now, sure, it's so expansive There's so many things to do on Facebook, but initially it was just checking out other people's profiles and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And it's immense. Can I say the expanse is immense? I mean, it's wild. I mean, the list of options, and I just discovered a few days ago. There's what's this? What Facebook Watch? What's that? And I'm like, Jesus, there's a whole series of programs content created by people put out, and it I don't even have time. I don't even have time for what
There's no time, my friend. There's no time. It's insane. Like the recent update they did on Facebook, where now you see all of the group activity in your main feed. It's been insane, because before you would have to go to a certain page that you like or certain group that you like to engage with the content on those pages. But now all of that stuff is leaking into the main timeline. And you're like, wait, this is happening over here. This group is meeting over here. So there's so much more engagement. And it all comes down to, okay, how much time do I have that I can dedicate to creating content or consuming content? Because you can consume content without effort. But it all comes down to when I want to create some content, okay, I need to go research, and then you sometimes you get sucked in, sometimes you can, control that need to dig in to something that's not relevant to what you're researching, and it's pretty amazing.
There's so much stuff there, and you make a good point about you either consume or you create. I don't think there's much middle territory. Yeah, and if you could create and consume at the same time, that would be ideal. But
actually, that would not be ideal at all, because that's as if you're sitting on a toilet eating.
Right. Yeah. There's a perfect analogy.
So you can't consume and create at the same time. Does that make sense? I guess that's a little PG-13 there.
Yeah. I'm imaging that in my head right now. Thank you very much. And
it doesn't look good.
Well, the thing is, it actually looks possible.
Actually, you know what? You make a good point. Is it possible to consume and create at the same time? Yes. So let's say there's a video being shot. All those behind-the-scenes videos, the people who shoot behind-the-scenes video, they're consuming what's happening, but they're also creating content around that specific area. Right?
Well, what if creation and consumption is what you and I are doing right now, right? What if your input is the creation, and at the same time as you're inputting with your voice, I'm consuming? That's
very true.
And there's this kind of back and forth going. So we're able to mediate the whole process and come out with some kind of creative content at the end. But I think what we're generally talking about is the fact that you're either working towards producing something, or you're working towards consuming what is happening around about you.
That's right.
Either in the real world or the digital world, and I've noticed personally. Like I read an article a couple of years ago, and the article was that the average American consumes 4 hours of television. It was. Now, I'm not sure if that includes internet videos. I'm assuming it does, okay, because I'm assuming
now it should.
Yeah, I'm assuming that most people don't watch the old style TV anymore. They have converted to, the either Netflix or I don't know whatever other million systems exist out there.
Yep.
Like I had this TV in my old flat, and I pressed a button on the remote and found like 50 channels that I never even knew existed.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this? Oh my God, oh, there's a channel for dance, and there's a channel for opera, and there's a channel for, I don't even know what this channel is for, and I don't even know who creates it. And oh my God, people have to create these channels and put out the content and make the programs, and they need cameramen, and they need scripts and actors and editors, and
Oh yeah, it's amazing space to be in, because the internet is very vast. I mean, just looking at Facebook, they have 2 billion active users. 2 billion active users.
That's insane.
Right.
I mean, what's that? 1 in every 5 people?
Yeah, 1 in every 5 people. And there's so many people have so many hobbies. So when I started looking at hobbies, I was like, all right, show me hobbies. And there's so many different things people are doing, and billions of content around it, for example. And that's where you call niche marketing, right? So you're marketing to your niche. You're focusing like a laser target. I only want people that are interested in knitting with green color, or knitting clothes for dogs. So now that's a very specific niche market. So of course there's a TV show around it, because there's 100,000 people watching this stuff. I ran into this one YouTube channel called Ants, and it was all about Ants Canada. And these people, like this channel had 600,000 subscribers. And what are they showing? This is videos. It's videos of ant farms that they have in their homes. Huge ant farms. And they've got these battles because they've introduced 2 different colonies of ants together. And I was like, holy smokes, there's like a battle going on. You can see, and everything's sped up in time because they move a little slower. But then there's like conversation and commentary happening in the back. I'm like, holy smokes, this is amazing.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, the things that exist, because you have to look at life as from the perspective of there's more we don't know than what we do know.
Yes.
Right. I always feel like if I'm in a room of people, that it's good to approach the situation as I know the least amount of information, because if I add up what everybody else knows, then I know nothing
exactly
in comparison with their knowledge and experience. And you see that when you go out into the digital world, and you discover that there are there's special Facebook sites for, I don't know, number plates for cars, and there's people who love autumn, and I don't know, there's probably there's probably a dedicated page to finding the best seats on airplanes or something like that.
There is absolutely.
Sure.
You think it, and Google will show you. That's how powerful. I discovered the power of Google not when it first came out. I discovered the power of Google probably a lot later than a lot of the people that are already using it. I was like, holy smokes, I can search for anything that I want, and the answers are there.
It's amazing. I mean, I was looking for a game for my kids, and this is like an example of what you just described. I was looking for a game for my kids, and there's this card game for children called Top Trumps. I don't know if you know it. Do you know this? It's the cards have got pictures on them, and let me give you an example. So they've got the cards with the pictures of the Star Wars characters on it, and they've got Rebel Force, or I don't know, speed of thinking, or and they've got numbers, and you call your number, and if your number is higher than the other person's number, then you get their card. It's a little card game, right? And and so I was in a local shop, and I was like, they've got these different packs of, like, they've got like Harry Potter trump cards and other kinds of cards, and I was like, this would be really cool for my kids. And then I came home and I was talking about it with my partner, and we were talking like, I wonder how much they cost, and I wonder if they've got these special kind, and it's like, we'll have to see next time we go to the shop. And then my brain went, no, we don't. And I could get out my phone and I put into Google, specifically what we're searching for, and I click the button and I click images, and we look at the different pictures, and I'm like, I have to change my thinking. my thinking is so old school. This idea that there's no excuses anymore. There's no space for any excuses.
Way.
There's no space. There's no space for I don't know anymore. Because if you really wanted to learn it, you can find it almost instantly, which is both a lifesaver and a conversation killer at the same time.
It is.
Because what people would, people would sit in the local pub or bar with a beer and they discuss a topic and, throw ideas backwards and forwards, and somebody would say, no, I'm sure it was this, and somebody else would go, no, it wasn't, it was way before that.
Yeah.
And now we know.
Let's just ask Google. Oh, okay. That's what it was. All right, that's next topic.
Yeah, and it's a godsend to have this information at our fingertips, or at the tip of our tongue if you're using like some kind of voice search engine, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to have that, but if you depend on it too much, then you lose your elements of discernment.
It is.
Your abilities to make those little judgments about things that make your life better, make your quality of life better.
Because we are in the information age, but is that information being used as knowledge? Right? That's where the difference is, because sure, we know there's this, or we can find information about a certain thing, but are we using that knowledge? Are we using that knowledge to enhance our thinking, or I don't know how to say it, but I'm just tripping all over my own words.
No. I think you're getting towards the point, which is I've heard it described that just because you know something doesn't mean that you understand something, and the principle is the bicycle, right?
Yes.
We all know that the concept of the bicycle works, and you get on it and you pedal and you go somewhere, but you ask someone to explain the physics of it, what's happening in the physics of it, and people begin to get confused because there's a lot of complex stuff happening, and that's the reason why for thousands of years we never had the bicycle. We never had the bicycle because people were like standing things up and going, look, it falls over. Why would you want to travel on something that constantly falls over? They didn't understand that the motion created the balance.
Exactly.
Due to the forces, and
amazing.
And so having knowledge is, it's key, but it's not as practically useful as being able to understand why things are the way that they are. To know what it is, to know that it's a tree is not as deep as understanding what kind of tree it is, what the material is, what the leaves are, what grows on it, what kind of environment it needs. So there's levels to it.
No, that's so true. So true.
There's absolute levels to it. Yeah.
Talking about standing up two wheels and then falling down, they were able to create this motorbike that has a built-in gyroscope. So it spins in there, keeping the bike balanced at all times. You could try to push it down, but it won't fall over because it's creating the momentum or balance within itself.
Oh yeah, the like the self-balancing wheels that you can get right now as well. So and that's going to be freaky because if we depend too much on that.
Oh my God, you're so true. That's so right. People will never learn how to balance a bike.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's
a plus and a minus.
Oh yeah. It's it's like running will get you there faster, but you'll be knackered.
Yes.
If you haven't had a heart attack, right? on the way. So yeah, right now I'm up in the Highlands right now, and I'm
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere, and
Mhm.
people need. You need the transportation to get anywhere. If you can't live here without a car, and like I'm all for living environmentally friendly, and
Mhm.
taking care of your waste and all that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
looking after things around about you. Um, and people are like, oh, cars are bad and whatever, but there's no way that communities here
Yeah.
could survive if that element of technology didn't exist, because people
Yeah.
just wouldn't be able to get anywhere. They wouldn't be able to get to work. They wouldn't be able to get to the bank. They wouldn't be able to have leisure activities.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able
Nothing.
to do anything at all. So the technology does improve the quality of our life, and we don't want to
Oh,
go back
absolutely.
100 years. We don't want to go
Yeah.
back to the times before central heating and double glazing and all
Mhm.
of those all of those modern comforts that make life bearable. Um,
Absolutely.
so it's the double-edged sword, right?
It
It's
is.
it, it's the double-edged
It is.
sword. I,
I
I,
mean, growing up myself, I grew up in California,
mhm,
and they don't have any public transportation system that can get you efficiently from one place to another.
mhm.
So there's a lot of cars, an insane amount of cars, in fact, in California, and they have 5 lane, 6 lane, 7 lane freeways. And you got lanes on either side that is just huge. And there's still traffic. I actually recorded an episode while I was there in LA while I was commuting because
It's
that's one of the
downtime,
things.
right? You're stuck in the
Exactly.
you're stuck in the car.
You're stuck in a
You're
car.
stuck in the car.
So most of my podcasts are recorded in a car, but
Mhm.
I've got a good setup that I'm able to do this. So I was like, and I started talking about the reasons behind. So I still have to publish that podcast because I was traveling and weddings and stuff like that.
Life, the
Didn't
universe, and
have to
everything,
happen.
right?
Yes,
It all gets in the
yes.
way. It all gets in the way. I know
So
what. So on you go. On you go. Tell us about the
no,
the
I don't
free.
want to talk about that because you can check out that podcast and listen.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what's there. You have to go and find out for yourself.
You can find out. I mean, it's. I think it is interesting, but it all comes down to, okay, what is it that's most important to you, and if you need to get from one place to another, you use the technology that's available to us, and it's getting better every day. It's getting better every day.
Yeah. We make those little improvements. At the same time, there are these odd little contradictions. Let me give you an odd little
Hmm.
contradiction. In the late 1960s, mid to late 1960s, you could travel from Paris to New York in 3 hours, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, where's that gone?
Wait,
Right?
how did you travel from New York to?
Paris, New York to Paris, Concorde,
Oh yes,
the supersonic jet,
yes.
right? So now we fast forward, we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50 plus, I don't know, almost 50 years
It's
later, right?
over 50 years. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the time traveling? Time travel. Well, the time that it takes to travel, right?
It takes a long time.
Yeah. We're now talking. I don't know. I don't know exactly the time. What it be 7, 8 hours or something like that? I don't know
Yeah.
exactly, right? So that's
Yeah.
gone backwards rather than
Gone
forwards.
backwards.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't know why. I wanted to. I never looked into it why they discontinued the Concorde, because a friend of mine, he's from Britain, UK himself, and he just loves talking about Concordes because British Airways was the one flying the Concordes most of the times.
yeah. It was a
Um,
joint project between Air France and British Airways to make the
okay.
Concords. And
Yeah.
well, it's interesting. I have a theory about that. My theory
Mm.
is that the human brain couldn't handle it. That was
Really?
that's my theory. The human
Holy
brain
smokes.
couldn't handle it because when you could have breakfast in London, and lunch
Yeah.
in New York.
In New York.
And people did.
People-
Now, I just think that it was too much for the average person's brain
Sure.
to even comprehend, because
Sure.
at that point in time,
It's too ahead of its time.
it would, we're talking about technology that was maybe 100 years ahead of its time, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and like the average person was, struggling to, make
Make a living.
make a living, make things happen for themselves, and schools needed development, and the services and health wasn't so good, and there were all these other elements of society that needed support. Meanwhile, people were zooming around the planet at supersonic speeds, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right,
That's
and you
crazy,
could have
right?
lunch in New York and be back for tea in Britain, right? I mean, it was
Yeah.
completely insane,
Completely insane.
and
And
I think it was just too
I-
much.
It was too much. I mean, I'm thinking about 1950s brains, 1950s technology with cars and everything else, and it was just like, wow, we don't need fighter pilot speeds
Yeah,
in commercial jets, and I think that's what happened.
yeah. I think that we reprioritized how society was organized, and because if it got any faster,
It could have gotten faster.
I mean, if it had got faster, I mean, how would we deal with that even? I mean,
Well, it's
people
well,
have
that's
problems
where-
catching buses and trains that are,
exactly.
scooting around like never on time or on schedule or whatever. And so
I think it also has to do with corporations being able to make money off of it. Because you're mentioning it was a joint project between Britain and France, and majority of the airlines that are doing business is, I don't know where they are located, right? And they're like, no, this is not good for business for us. We're not making as much money as we want to, so we're gonna,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know. There has to be some
Well, yeah,
something in that respect.
if you look at it from a money making perspective, if you slow down the process, you have people's attention for longer.
Yes.
Right? So that's the difference
Exactly.
between making a film and making a Netflix series, right?
Exactly.
People will go to the film once, watch it once, and it's do, did, done, right? But people will be drawn into the series because they have to invest more time in it, and you've got people's attention for longer.
So annoying. Like, and then you come back for the next season. You've got hooks. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's all it's all extremely well done and organized.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they've got some really good people behind what's going on there.
You know what I wish? Here's my dream. My dream is that all of the creativity that goes into making excellent TV programs and videos and films, if we could do that within schools, right?
Yeah.
If we could just do that in schools, if we could just have all that creativity flooding through and encouraging people to go out and to if you can think about a way to make society better, then you can go out and do it, and you've got the creative people around you to work on it, and you've got the support within the environment. If we could take all the energy put into K-pop videos for teenagers and use that in a way that we can do something slightly more helpful for society.
Absolutely. But I think the school system is great in teaching children in how to work hard, right?
Oh yeah, work ethic.
And my son just came home early release today, so he's like watching here. He's like, "What are you guys talking about? School?"
Yeah. It's well, it's interesting that you used the word release. I mean, that's an interesting word to use, connected with education. Yeah. Where else do people get released? Let me think. Well,
Get released
get
from
released.
another place.
Yes. Anyway, anyway, no,
So-
no, I agree with the hard work ethic principle. I agree with that. If you're not getting it outside of school or getting it from your family or the culture that you're part of, then school's purpose is to ensure that you do have that ethic there.
Right.
For sure, because I've lived within cultures and societies. I've lived in places where if schools did not exist, society would still be in the Stone Age, right?
No. Yeah.
It really would. It really would be like that. Oh, wow, check this out.
It all comes down to...
One second. My partner has just given me a glass of something, and I don't know what it is. Wait 1 second. I've got to ask, what is it? What is it? Banana, raspberry, hemp, and cinnamon. Oh, to die for. Thank you. Much appreciated. Sorry about that interlude.
It sounds delicious.
Oh man, I've got a big smile on my face, mate. Big smile on my face. It is going to be. It looks delicious. I'd like to send you a picture, but it's not really very practical right now. But anyway, just you got to visualize this.
I gotta visualize it. Yep.
Visualize this. The glass of it's a pink-colored milk. It's all frothed up. It's ice cold, and it's full of everything the body needs. There we go.
Nice. Very nice. So, how did you get into podcasting? I know I'm gonna skip the FB forums being helpful.
Yeah. Skip the what? The what?
There was one question you had about our Facebook forum.
Oh yeah, sorry. FB. I'm sorry. I heard something else. Right. Yes. Sorry. I fell into it by accident, completely by accident. I'm a content creator, and I've had a YouTube channel for 9 years.
Nice.
And,
okay. I'll have to go check out your YouTube channel.
It's the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, nice.
And so what I do is I kind of record what's happening in and around the work that I'm doing with people as I go. So what this means is right now there's over 1,600, I think 1,700 videos and audios on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
Yes, my aim is to produce content constantly. And what that means is that I have days where I work with people, and sometimes I'm producing 3 or 4 hours of content a day, which
That's
is
amazing.
Which is criminally insane, actually.
I think that's amazing because that is one thing. That Gary V. And I'm sure you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
That's one thing that he focuses on is, dude, you need to create content constantly every day without a pause, because that is what will get you
legacy
noticed.
I think is one of his aims. Absolutely. Well, I had sort of selfish reasons, which were that I wanted some kind of record left for my family. When my son was born, I had this kind of I'd started playing with the technology before that, but when my son was born, I had a revelation that if for some reason something were to happen to me, he wouldn't have anything really about who I was or what I did or what I stood for or who I am. And I realized that my parents didn't really leave anything for me, and I've got nothing for my grandparents, and I have zero information about my family, right?
Wow. Okay.
And I thought I don't want to leave nothing behind. I don't want to leave nothing. I don't want to come here, live my life on this planet, and then go away and there be no trace left. There doesn't seem to be any point to that for me.
Did this thought occur around the time when How I Met Your Mother show came out? I don't know if you've seen that show.
I don't even know what that is, mate.
Okay.
So educate me. Educate me.
So
what
How
is
I
that?
Met Your Mother show, it lasted for about 8 years.
Okay.
And it started with his dad telling a story to his 2 kids.
Okay.
And he's basically talking about their mother. And the entire show is around this, and he goes around telling different stories. Mm-hmm. And eventually, the entire 8 seasons, we figure out who the mother is, because they never show who the mother is. He's just going around telling them his life.
So do you get like scenes from the past? Does it show you
Yes.
scenes from the past?
There's essentially all of them are scenes from the past.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It sounds like a nice idea. But I've never.
So you're documenting it for your kids. It's pretty amazing, because it's motivation, right? What's the motivation behind anything that you do?
Yeah.
And that's your motivation, and it's a legit and accurate motivation.
Well, here's the way I look at it, right? And I think this is useful for everybody. And this is that if somebody were to write a biography of your life for whatever reason, if someone were to write one, would they get it? Would they get it right? If they interviewed your partner and your kids and other members of family and people you worked with, would they get it right? Would they actually have a picture of who you really were, or would you end up with a picture of who they thought you were?
Yeah, most of the time it would be one or the other.
Well, it would be their perspective on you rather than your perspective on you, and that is sort of through my life, when I've tried to explain things to people have made judgments about me, like, oh, you think this because of that, and I'm like, well. Thank you very much for that judgment. I'm not sure that's accurate, but thank you for the judgment anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because I've sort of got this perspective that I do what I do, I know what I know, but I'm also evolving at the same time. So
That's true.
What I knew and what I thought 10 years ago is not exactly the same as what I think and what I know today. Because when we meet new information, the information changes situations and we have to transform.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
And what I see when I can go back and look at videos now that I made 8 years ago in my office, and apart from them being embarrassing and me seeing a huge progression from where I was then and where I am now.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to hear who I was, to hear what I thought, to hear what interests me. And I think a lot of people are really scared to do that. I think a lot of, because I've had conversations about this with people, and people say, aren't you worried that somebody might, see one of your videos and think something from the past? Or I'm like, no, that's what I want. Right?
That's what I want them to do.
I want people to critique it in that kind of way. I want it to raise questions. I want people to recognize things that are different. And here's another thing. Like I lived a pretty unhealthy lifestyle like 8-9 years ago, and I look back at those early videos, and I'm kind of chubby. I'm overweight. I've got long hair and don't take care of it. I look a bit of a mess, right? And I've sort of like, that's not me now. I'm different now. I've improved. I'm more interested in health and nutrition and looking after myself, and staying sharp, on mindset, on growth, and this it's positive for me to look back.
It is. There was actually talking about how exercise is one of the things that can massively change the state of, and it's the only thing that can do that can bring such a change.
Yeah, it's oxygen to the brain.
Yeah.
Oxygen to the brain. If the brain doesn't get the oxygen, you're starved.
Yeah.
And exercise is the only way of ensuring the brain gets enough oxygen. Drugs can't do it. You have to get the heart pumping and circulating everything around the body. Here's a crazy thing. So I live on the coast up in the Highlands. I'm standing at this. I'm in this it's a big old Victorian house. I'm looking out the window and I'm looking across this green landscape. Believe it or not, there's a golf course right in front of the window because there's a golf course everywhere, right?
Yeah.
in Scotland. And then beyond the golf course there's a river. Beyond the river there's the sea. I can see the sea from this window.
See the sea. Wow,
I can
that's
see the
awesome.
sea. Yeah,
and that's the pull, right? That's why people come to visit.
It's
Maybe.
There's something.
Or maybe they're looking for the Loch Ness monster. Who knows?
People come for that, man. That's a huge industry, which is insane because it doesn't exist. I hate to break it to you, but there is.
I know it doesn't.
There is no monster. I'm sorry. There's a couple of foggy photos taken by drunk people on their way home from the pub at 3:00 in the morning.
It's probably a sailboat that looked like it.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Like people spend money on research, every year. Like these special research boats that go up and down the loch looking for this mysterious monster, which of course doesn't exist. And that's you talked about like the ant channel earlier, right? And you think you think that's wild? Well, I think spending money on Loch Ness monster research is kind of wild.
Or looking for the right. So there's the internet is full. Mm-hmm. I mean, the world is full of these kind of people. So who's on the internet? These same people. So it's going to reflect it.
The world is full of beauty and madness that live side by side. It's almost as if beauty and madness got married and produced this planet. I was in a sauna today, right? And I was in a sauna today, sweating it out, and in came these 3 girls, and they were how can I say this? They were large, okay? They were big girls, and they came in and they sat down and they got their mobile phones out. Well, they had their mobile phones with them, right?
Oh.
And they started taking pictures of each other in the sauna. And
wow.
And I kind of sat there with the flash, right? So you can imagine like this click, flash, right? And I'm sitting in the sauna, like sweating and like just it's my little bit of peace, my little bit of space, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I have to say to them that, excuse me, is it possible that you could maybe not, take pictures of each other? In the sauna, do you have to do it here? Could you not maybe do it? Oh, sorry, are we bothering you? Do you think it's normal to do this? They're like, oh, well, we don't see a problem with it. Well, okay, it's me. I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one for thinking the sauna is not the place for doing flash photography, right?
Yeah.
The public sauna. So, I don't know. And they're like, oh, sorry, we understand if you don't want to be in the pictures. I'm like, that's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with it at all. It's like, I don't.
That's so funny.
I don't really care. I'm just looking for a bit of space, please.
Yeah.
Please. Oh my God. Somebody save me.
That's so funny. So Graham, we weren't able to get through all of the topics.
We did it.
Yeah. Just fine. I mean, we certainly have to do it because I really enjoyed talking to you, and to see the perspective of another person. It's pretty amazing, especially from another part of the world. because you've grown up with different experiences, and I've had different experiences, of course, and
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to get another window into the world.
Yes, it is.
It's really wonderful because we can't ever know exactly what someone is thinking, but we can listen to them.
We can listen to it.
We can listen to them,
Love
and that's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So put out a bit of information about your podcast and
Will do.
and what's on it. Can you give me a little bit of info? Give me a little bit of background.
Yes. Podcast is called Hacks and Hobbies.
Okay.
We found on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast. I use the Anchor platform, of course. That's how we met, through the Anchor community. And I've been doing the podcast for about 6 months. And my experience with podcasting was about 2012. Two of my cousins, we should do a podcast. So we did, but since we were all in different locations, I was in Colorado, they were in California. The time difference, we just could never line up the correct time since we all have full-time jobs. It was weird. And then earlier this year, I was like, dude, we should do something. He's like, why don't you do it? And then Anchor came out. And I was like, all right, Anchor, I'm going to just do it on my own. And then I started talking about my hacks and my hobbies. And since I have a ton of hobbies, I started with beekeeping, and I talk all about beekeeping and all about the different hobbies that I have on Hacks and Hobbies.
That's pretty cool. I saw one of your little videos, actually. I hopped over to your Facebook page. I think is it one of your videos that you made, or was it, I don't know if it was you, or there was like somebody making a hive for bees?
That's me.
That's you. Okay, cool. So I got this picture in my head. It's right. It's you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you were building a hive for bees, or?
So so a beehive is essentially, there's multiple. The hive is just it's a box that has the top and bottom open. Mm-hmm. It's just four pieces of wood put together, and inside you have a frame, and inside the frame is the foundation. Now, this foundation is made out of beeswax with hexagon imprinted all around on either side. Mm-hmm. So this foundation and the frame go inside the box. Mm-hmm. And you can have 8 or 10 frames. Now, when the bees come in, they start drawing out the honeycomb on either side of the frames, and that becomes their stores for eggs and larvae and pollen and bee bread and nectar, as well as honey. So you give them foundation, they do all the work.
Well, that's cool. Hey, you know what's interesting? My partner's mother keeps bees in her garden.
Oh, wow.
She keeps bees. Yeah. And she gets great honey from them as well. Not only that, somebody in the little village where I am right now just won like best honey in Scotland or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
nice.
It's just like this like you walk up the road, as you do in villages. You walk up the road 2 minutes and everybody goes to this person's house, and they knock on the front door and they say, "Can we buy some honey?" And he just sells through his front door this honey.
That's awesome.
That he made. So what the bees made that he collected.
That'd be
So
nice.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's my podcast. And tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Okay, super. So I've got 2 that I do, basically. One is a chatterbox where I put out my conversations with people. It started doing the co-host with people, just chatting with them. And I thought it would be nice to have all the conversations in one place. And that became Chatterbox, and that started just from clicking the co-host button on Anchor and finding out who was there, and that just grew through that. So I've done over 80 co-host conversations now.
Wow!
And I've made friends all over the world. And what happens is it starts with a co-host conversation, and then you end up like I was doing Facebook Live today with somebody from Bali. Yeah.
Nice.
Who I met through the co-host system, which is great. And the other one, which is more popular, is Business Coaching Masterclass. And that's where I put out life coaching and business coaching on a daily basis. That's 2 podcasts a day, right?
Nice.
Which is, again,
that's a lot of content.
Criminally insane. But I just don't know what to do with it. I mean, I'm a content creator, and I'm just producing stuff all the time, and I'm just like, I just throw it out to the world, and I should spend more time on other elements like promotion and marketing and doing other little bits and pieces. But
absolutely.
I explained earlier why I'm doing it, so I think it all feeds back in. It's just putting stuff out, and every now and then you get a little bit of feedback from people that says, "Oh, we like that," and that's nice. That's
awesome.
So there's on the business coaching masterclass, there's life coaching, there's business coaching, and there's also a parenting series. That because I did 2 parenting podcasts last year, and I ran them for the year, and so there's special content for parents that's there as well. And
that's pretty cool.
There's other odd and curious things out there. It's when you get involved in the digital area and you're creating content,
and you have the time to do it.
Or you make the time to do it, or it happens as a result of what you're doing anyway. Because if my work is with people, and I'm recording my work with people, then all I have to do is take the conversation, edit out anything which is inappropriate or not include anybody else's names or personal content and stuff. Keep things as sane and sensible in that area as possible, and just put it out, because too much gets lost. Too much gets lost. Let's not lose it.
Yeah.
I think that wouldn't it be great if I think we've all had kind of all podcasters have had this thought. Wouldn't it be great if the great people of the 20th century or the 19th century
if they had a podcast?
Oh man! Could you imagine like the Muhammad Ali podcast, man? Could you?
I know. It'd be so cool. Like, what's going in his brain? Like, what is he thinking? And we get access to some of their like speaking gigs, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Just autobiographies, and but that's about it.
Yeah.
Man, I think we need to topic next time around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's explore. The world is full of interesting things, and as long as people have experiences and are ready to share, that's where it begins.
Yep.
You were great. That's why.
You're amazing, my friend. You've got a really good thing going on there, and love
that's
it.
Cool.
Love it.
That's cool. Hey, I'm sure we'll be in touch with each other again. I want to keep in contact with you, and if it's possible to share how things are going. It's always good to know that people are headed in the right direction. If there's anything that I can help you with, there probably isn't, but I'm just saying that anyway. If there's anything I can help you with,
no, there's a lot of things that I've picked up based on your conversation and based on what you've done in the past. And there's a lot of that I want to touch on. I just gotta call my boss and figure out. Apparently, I had a phone call 1:15 and I missed that, so gotta jump back on that.
Yeah. Gotta get back on things. Mull everything over. Mull it all over.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows what grows from what grows?
Exactly. Right? Well, thanks so much.
No, thank you, mate, and we'll do it again for sure.
Yeah,
we'll
for
do
sure.
It again,
Take care.
That's cool. And how do we finish this?
We just say goodbye. Till
Yeah?
next time.
I'm gonna cry. No, I'm not. Okay.
Oh.
There we go. How do I end it on the net? How do I end it on the system?
Oh, I just stopped recording and we just closed the browser window, I guess.
And then what happens to the recording that's in the Zencast?
The recording will be saved and I can share with you the link to it.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can we get a time frame on that? Did we share it will you be able to share it today or tomorrow? Or
I'll share it with you today because I know how insane you are with content creation, and this is a baby. This is a baby.
Oh man, I'm a tiger, man. I'm like
Right,
if like someone's holding on to something, I'm like
exactly. It's like I need it back. I need it. I need that. You got my money? You got my money?
That's it.
Graham.
Cool.
Thanks so much. I'll share this with you.
Okay.
And
cool.
get going. All right.
Okay, that'd be cool. Fantastic time, mate. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.